Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Porter Says podcast. My name is Heath. Thank you so much for tuning in. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing episode 3 of Percy Jackson season 2 and the Olympians. We board the Princess Andromeda. So, just like the first 2 episodes, which premiered last week, as I was watching it last night, I wrote some notes so I could have some points to discuss, and I hope you enjoy this one. So, this episode begins with Clarice going to see the Oracle, which we saw that in season 1 when Percy was going to go on his quest. He went to talk to the Oracle. And I really like how we kind of get to see somewhat a different side of Clarice in this one, because she does kind of put on a different persona or a facade around the other campers of Camp Half-Blood. But in this one, you can see she's a bit timid by herself, and she's kind of like, what? In her first instance, when she sees the Oracle, she chops its head right off. What I quite found interesting was the fact that, who was she going to see when talking to the Oracle? When it was going to say what this quest will entail and what's going to happen, is that in season 1, Percy saw Gabe, which I thought was very, very funny. But in this one, Clarice sees herself. Clarice is basically telling herself what is going to happen on this quest. Another thing that I liked is that we get to see Ares. Love seeing Ares come back. The little interaction we get between between him and Clarice was really cool. I really liked that. You can tell she's very respectful of him, and she's like, don't worry about that, man. Don't bow to me. That's for losers, Come and I'll introduce you to your crew, which is the Iron Clawed. Love that design. Really like that. It's simple, but the fact that they built that, full on built it, is very impressive to me. I love the way the Princess Andromeda looks. It's a big, full on cruise ship where Luke and his goons, or his army, I should say, are hanging out, and we get to see them board it. Obviously, makes sense. That's the title of the episode. That's cool. Get to see them be stowaways. It's much better than what we got in the film, because in the film, the Princess Andromeda, it was just a typical yacht. And look, yachts are cool, but you couldn't really do a cruise ship in the film, or was the budget that low? But they built. I don't think they built a full-on cruise ship or anything, but a lot of the hallways and the rooms and everything that are in this ship, as the episode goes on, and the deck and everything, I think they were pretty much built from scratch, and then a lot of the rest of it is blue screen and CGI and stuff like that. We get a really cool somewhat battle between Percy, Annabeth, and Allison Sims, which I liked quite a bit. Although it kind of, as I was watching, I'm like, geez, Percy really is not doing well in this fight. Annabeth seems to be doing pretty well, but Allison Sims, she's out for blood. She's nuts. And I like the part where she's going up the steps, and then she tries to get one of them, and she just full on flips over the cruise ship. I was like, that. Well, you got what was coming to you, Allison. Let's see. Tyson is such a good character in this show so far. He's just, every time he's like, I can smell something. I think there's monsters on this ship, and we get to see them. Conversations we get between Percy and Annabeth, where she's just like, look, I know there's... Percy's like, I don't want to know about the prophecy, And she's like, I hate the fact that I can't tell you, and it's really eating away at me and stuff like that. And he's like, you know what? If at any point during a conversation I start to ask about it, we'll use a code word. Later on in the episode, when he starts talking about, I think it's something to do with Luke, she says the code word, and he's like, I just realized, any time you want to, you can use that code word, which I believe was called, I think the code word was boon. It's anytime you want to use that, you can, even if you're wrong. So eventually Luke finds Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson, and brings them into this room, and they start having this conversation, and Luke is just saying some straight up nasty shit about Thalia, saying that look, the tree is a curse, and I think she would like to see that tree be taken down, and Zeus he doesn't like to use mercy at all on anybody, and all that. And he's like, you didn't know Thalia, Annabeth. We were on the run for 2 years. You were on the run with us for 2 months. You didn't know her like I did. And you just see this kind of heartbreak in Annabeth's eyes. And then the prophecy gets mentioned, the great prophecy. And Percy's like, wait, did he just say the great prophecy? And Luke goes, so I know about the great prophecy. Annabeth does. But you don't? What are you, just stupid and scared or something? He says something like that to Percy, and Percy's like, can't I be both? I really like they are making Percy much more sassy than he is, and very sarcastic, just like he is in the books. Then he brings him down into this more like this kind of underground area of the ship, where he's got a bunch of his training stuff, and all these people, all his army getting ready for the fight ahead. You see Tyson, who was later, like earlier on, who was actually taken by two of the monsters, and he was just like, Tyson was very scared. He's like, look, they're not going to hurt you, Tyson. And then he's building this thing for them, and he's like, can I use a fireball? And they're like, okay. Build a fireball, and he goes, so what's this for? It's a bomb. Boom. Gets Annabeth and Percy out of there. They both start running off, and eventually they escape, and you get this really great scene where Luke goes he's looking over the railing, and he sees Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson on this little, not submarine, but it's like a little one of those like underwater type ships. It's kind of like a submarine. Cut back in the episode to see Clarice on the ship with all the zombie-like people, and earlier in the episode she's really trying to get them, because she's the captain of the ship. She's the captain, and they're just not listening to her. They think that she's just some young stupid girl. They don't even want anything to do with her. And then I like how she gives this speech towards the end, and they all just like, all right, cool. Like, we're on board. Like, we're in, Clarice, let's go. And one of the Confederate soldiers comes up to her and says, look, the coordinates, like, the Sea of Monsters is in New Jersey. Like, that seems like an odd place to go. Like, because in the previous episode, Tantalus was telling everybody these coordinates of where the Sea of Monsters is, and he got it wrong. And Percy's like, that's not even the right numbers. And Clarice, you get this look on her face. She's like, oh, Jackson. So realizing that, oh, great, so Jackson's on the right course for the quest, and I'm not. That's not fair. And then the very final scene is essentially Annabeth going, screw it. I'm going to tell you this great prophecy, Percy. I'm going to tell you. Even though we find out Chiron didn't really tell her the full thing. She's like, I just got the gist of it. But basically, once you turn 16, the great prophecy says you will either be able to save Olympus or destroy it. And Chiron seems to think that Percy will destroy it. I guess that's everything to report on this latest episode of Percy Jackson. Now, the biggest issue I have with this one is that it's shorter than the previous ones. It's about, if you don't count the recap and the end credits, because they take up a decent amount, then the episode overall, it says it's 38 minutes long, but overall it's about maybe 35 minutes. I'm like, this is a problem that the first season had, is that it just felt like the episodes weren't long enough, and they felt a bit rushed, and we got a decent amount of time on the Princess Andromeda, but I really wish we got more time, because it was such a cool place to be. Like, we finally got it. Like, we finally got the cruise ship, not like in the movie when it was, again, just a simple yacht. So I kind of was a little bit disappointed by that. But overall, I did really like this episode. I thought it was great. No Grover in this one. So I'm guessing he might show up in the next couple, which next week's episode looks like it's going to be awesome. We'll finally get essentially a rematch between Percy and Clarice. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to wrap it up. Let me know down below what you thought of episode 3 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, season 2. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I'm having a ton of fun talking about Percy Jackson. I feel like these next few weeks might just be Percy Jackson episodes, like Percy Jackson videos. So I hope, if there are people who aren't really fans of Percy Jackson, I hope you do tune in. Just maybe I can get you interested in this series, because it's a really good show. And this season is very, very solid so far. So yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.